You know, deep in the heart of the Caribbean, there's a nation of picture-perfect beaches, a really complex history, and a name. A name that holds a truly fascinating story. So today, let's dive into the twin island state of Antigua and Barbuda.
Okay, so this sounds like the beginning of a riddle, right? What do an ancient icon and bearded trees have in common? Well, the answer is actually at the very heart of this nation's identity. It's hidden in the names that were given to these islands centuries ago. So, let's start to unravel this thing. To solve our little riddle, we've got to travel back in time. Way back. Back to the age of exploration, a time when the world map was literally being redrawn and names were being given to lands that, well, they already had names. So here it is. The names of these two islands, they come straight from Spanish. Antigua means ancient and Barbuda means bearded. Right there, that's the answer to our opening question. But what exactly was so ancient? And what, or who, was bearded? Now this is where it gets really interesting. The ancient part, it has absolutely nothing to do with the island itself. When Christopher Columbus sailed past here in 1493, he named it Santa Maria la Antigua, which means St. Mary the Ancient. Why? He did it in honor of a cherished icon back in the Seville Cathedral in Spain. And Barbuda, or bearded, well, that's thought to be a reference to the island's fig trees, which have these long, hanging roots that make them look, well, bearded. So there's our answer, a holy icon and some shaggy-looking trees. But a name, it's just the start of the story. The history that came after European colonization is one of huge transformation, and it was all built on a brutal economic system that would define these islands for centuries to come. This timeline here, it shows a really rapid, dramatic history. After Columbus showed up, the islands eventually became a British colony. But it was the first sugar plantation, just over 40 years later, that really changed everything. A brutal, sugar-based economy just exploded, and it was built on the backs of enslaved people from Africa. Now, the abolition of slavery in 1834 was a massive step, of course, but the path to true self-governance was a long one, finally ending with full independence in 1981. So the crucial takeaway here is this. The colonial wealth of Antigua and Barbuda was literally extracted from the ground through crops like sugar, tobacco, and cotton. And this whole system was only possible because of the forced labor of hundreds of thousands of people taken from their homes in Africa. This legacy is absolutely fundamental to understanding the nation's people and its culture today. But out of that incredibly difficult history, a vibrant and resilient culture has really bloomed. So let's take a look at what makes modern Antigua and Barbuda tick. It's people, their faith, their language, and their passions. Religion plays a really big role in the lives of many Antiguans and Barbudans. And while the Anglican Church, which is a legacy of British rule, is the biggest single denomination, the spiritual landscape is actually incredibly diverse. It's a rich tapestry of different Christian faiths, like Pentecostal, Moravian, and many, many others. Now, while English is the official language, the one you'll hear in government and in schools, the true voice of the nation, the real heartbeat, is Antiguan Creole. It's this dynamic, expressive language that was born from a blend of English and various African languages. This is what fills the streets and homes. It's really a living testament to the nation's history and a key part of its cultural identity. And when we talk about culture, some things are just sacred. Like in a lot of Commonwealth nations, cricket is way more than a sport, it's a genuine passion. The biggest party of the year is the annual carnival, this spectacular explosion of music and dance in August that commemorates the abolition of slavery. And of course, you've got the food. Local cuisine relies heavily on corn and sweet potatoes, especially in beloved national dishes like ducana and fungi. So the nation has definitely leveraged its natural beauty to build its modern economy. But its political structure? Well, it holds this fascinating and kind of surprising link to its colonial past, a view that stretches all the way to Westminster. This one number, right here, it says it all. A staggering 60% of the country's entire gross domestic product is driven by tourism. Those white sand beaches and turquoise waters that pull in visitors from all over the world, they are the engine of the modern economy. So how is this independent nation governed? Well, it's a constitutional monarchy. It runs on what's called the Westminster model, which was inherited from the British. Basically, this means there's a democratically elected parliament and a prime minister, but the official head of state is still a monarch. And here's the twist. The head of state for Antigua and Barbuda isn't an Antiguan president. It's King Charles III. He's represented on the islands by a governor-general. It's a really powerful reminder of the long and very complicated history that's shared between this Caribbean nation and the United Kingdom.
So we've looked at the names, the history, the culture, the politics. What does it all mean for the future of this small island nation as it tries to chart its own course here in the 21st century?
The country's national motto, each endeavoring, all achieving, I think that speaks volumes. It's a call for individual effort to come together for a collective success. It really reflects a spirit of unity and determination, one that was forged through centuries of struggle and triumph. And that kind of leaves us with a final thought. For a nation so dependent on global tourism and so deeply connected to a complex history, the challenge is always going to be, how do you balance that economic need and those historical ties, all while celebrating and protecting a unique cultural identity? It's a question Antigua and Barbuda is answering every single day as it writes the next chapter of its story. Thanks for joining us.